All right, now that we've looked at the panel I/O, let's look at expansion I/O. If I click on one of my panels, you'll see my expansion devices become available in the Items tab. First, let's look at the I/O module. I'll double-click and add one of those to my node. And when I expand that, you'll see my 16 channels. By default, those channels are all set for inputs, as indicated by gray arrows that point to the left. When I right-click on the module and select Edit Settings, this brings up the Configure I/O Module settings. I can name the I/O module. I can select its address between 1 and 32. I can select each channel individually as an input or an output. If I want to, I can take an entire bank of 8 and select them as outputs or inputs as well. On the Channel 1 through 8 tab, I can assign specific location text and zone information to each channel. I can do the same thing on channels 9 through 16. Now, after I've made those changes, you'll see my inputs and outputs show up accordingly. Let's take a look at the Configure Input settings. Inside the Configure Input settings, you can see each channel is configurable just as with our panel inputs. I can select my input action. I can select my action message. I can assign an input delay, an output delay bypass. I have my latching and non-latching options, my location text, and my zone information. In looking at the I/O output settings, you see the configuration is very much the same as panel outputs. Next, let's take a look at the serial annunciator. If I highlight the panel, I can double-click Serial Annunciator, and it will automatically add the serial annunciator to the next available I/O address. If I right-click and select Edit Settings, we bring up the Configure I/O Module settings for the serial annunciator, where we can change the name as well as the address. The address range of the serial annunciator is 1 through 15.